Kia ora everybody, this is Tom from Aotearoa, New Zealand, and this is my ebook on breakthrough skin and tissue healing and unnecessary amputations. Basically, the essence of what I'm trying to achieve with what I do is to show that life itself is interesting, that learning is interesting, and that real knowledge should be simple and inspiring. And specifically in terms of health, I'm not only trying to identify breakthrough remedies for health conditions, but I'm more interested in making those remedies accessible for the everyday people. And I believe that the way to do this is in small groups, such as in people's homes, because this is where things can be informal and where we can really ask questions in our own unique way and digest things. And so I'm starting at my place in Epsom on Wednesday nights at 7:30. I'm doing a folk medicine group and look forward to linking up with any other people that want to hold these groups in their place as well. So if you share similar aspirations and philosophies, then let's see if we can help each other, because I could certainly do with a bit of help, and I'm in contact with quite a few people, so who knows, I might be able to link you up with someone that could help you as well. Okay, so this is a testimonial that really does interest me, because I rate testimonials as one testimonial worth 1,000 medical studies, because you're actually seeing a real person, you're hearing it from their end, what they've got to say, and there's no spin involved. You know, what you see is what you get. And especially when a herbalist can show quite a few of these type of transformations, then I think that they really deserve a bit of credibility, because this, to my mind, is real research. You've got a real person and a real result, and it's transparent. This herbalist is Malcolm Harker in Waipu, north of Auckland, and he uses a herbal tonic called 566 and a herbal lotion 528. And he also encourages people to radically cut down or completely eliminate wheat, sugar and dairy from their diets. So that's one little tool in the toolbox for skin transformations. But we need a few choices, because sometimes some very dramatic situations can come our way, and I'll talk a little later about a girl that lost her limbs to meningococcal disease and why I believe that that was unnecessary. But this here is my flatmate's son after a barbecue accident. On the left is how he was left in hospital after 2 days, and then she went and cleaned up his face and applied aloe vera about 2 to 4 times. Just an external topical aloe vera, Forever Living Products aloe vera, and you can see the result 1 day later on the right, and I think you can see clearly there's more improvement to that face than just the cleaning up of the face. This is really significant for me because I've had burn results with this aloe vera before, and additional to that, I've got 5 women friends that have all got results within days. It just felt that they could feel their skin changing and improving within days, and sometimes a day, on this particular aloe vera. Also had a poet friend who was living less than a saintly life, and I'd got used to seeing eczema all over his face. And when it finally got into his neck and up into his hair, I just really laid it on the line and said, mate, you've got to try this aloe vera. And within 6 weeks I saw that he was completely clear of it. Additional to that, this same Forever Living Products aloe vera was used in the reconstruction of faces after the Oklahoma bombing. Cases were sent to the surgeons. And additional to that, Dr. Peter Atherton in the UK cured, out of 6 serious leg wounds that ranged from about 3 to 15 years old on people, he cured 3 venous leg ulcers completely. He cured a case of lupus that was about 15 years old completely. This is taking the internal aloe and applying the external aloe. And he got another great result with somebody that was able to have a skin graft then. So sort of 5 out of 6 profound results with 7 leg ulcers. Out of the 2 failures, one of them simply gave up because they didn't like a bit of stinging. Okay, prior to me hearing about this little girl with meningococcal disease, I was aware of a chap called David Phillips working with the Bioptron light, and this is the type of results that he's been getting. Isn't it absolutely fascinating how a wound like that can be healed up with a light? But believe me, it's happening. And this guy, David Phillips, had saved about, I think it was about 7 or 8 legs already from amputation, or that were either at risk of amputation or that had been scheduled for amputation. And I've got 3 of those cases on audio files on a web group that you'll see at the end of this video. But here's some examples of what the Bioptron light is doing with serious kind of leg-threatening, life-threatening wounds. So my challenge to the medical institution is, how can you look at yourselves in the mirror when you're giving people that drug Roaccutane, which has websites and websites about mental health damage caused by it, when you've got a Bioptron light that can wipe out a skin condition like this in 10 weeks on its own? Okay, you've just seen 3 breakthrough remedies for skin with what I believe are clear case history success stories. Now let's look and see how the medical profession handle things when they get a real crisis skin and tissue case that comes their way. Not so long ago, a baby girl from New Zealand made national and world headlines when she contracted meningococcal disease. She was in the care of Auckland Hospital for 12 days before she lost her limbs. Whenever a tragedy like this happens, I believe there must be a review of all those in charge, their research procedure and their best practice models. Here are my questions to David Sage, the Chief Medical Officer of Auckland Hospital at that time and now. David, how do you explain the fact that none of your doctors, your surgeons and yourself knew anything about the Bioptron light when it is scientifically proven in the areas of wound, burn and tissue healing, and has saved about a dozen legs from amputation in Auckland before this little girl lost hers to your care? Why were you not prepared to take up David Phillips' offer to treat any more at risk of amputation kids, given David Phillips' track record in saving such cases? Given that David Phillips stopped that baby crying in 30 seconds with the Bioptron light in front of one of your own doctors who immediately was able to reduce the morphine for baby, and given that I showed you at least 4 serious leg wounds at risk of or scheduled amputation, and saved by David Phillips' Bioptron light, I find your response pathetic and in fact criminal. David Phillips emailed me and said he believed he could have saved those limbs if he got there in time. Could you please explain to the parents of this child whose limbs you amputated why you did not put them in contact with the Auckland Hospital's hyperbaric oxygen provider at the time? He and all his colleagues from around the world were amazed that he wasn't a lead treatment provider in the case, given the successful track record of hyperbaric oxygen therapy in this area. You have the gall to ask me for high standards of evidence efficacy after it has already been delivered to you as clearly as it can be. Did you talk to the doctors who saw the Bioptron light in action, constantly alleviating pain as soon as it was shone on the tissue? Did you read what the parents wrote about FLP aloe vera on their website? Did you talk to the surgeon who couldn't believe the recovery rate of the baby after surgery when she was on transfer factor, a proven immune booster? What if these remedies got there on day 1 instead of day 10, David? I don't believe there is a single one of you in that hospital with eyes for remedies that work. I believe you and the upper echelon there are a pack of criminals guilty of grievous bodily harm, and that this case is a classic example of black and white proof of what remedies work right in front of your own eyes that you ignored. Here, open your eyes and read about hyperbaric oxygen chamber therapy that you denied the parents of. Read this email of Dr. Mike Godfrey from Tauranga where he quotes his Danish colleagues as saving legs that the mongrels in your profession were going to cut off. Read about how Dr. Janice Priest of Tauranga's Healthy Options was saving legs that the mongrels in your profession were going to cut off. So to my other listeners, this is just one example of where I believe they're doing enormous harm to people, and I look forward to seeing people in folk medicine groups where people can really experience remedies that work. Alright, till then, looking forward to seeing you all. Tom.